Good morning. Welcome all of you on Friday, third week of Easter. Today is 1st of May, Feast of Saint Joseph. I would like that we continue with the passage from the 6th chapter of John, even though in the liturgy in the churches today there will be different gospel proclaimed. But we just have this continuation to see how this dialogue with the Jews develops today. Let us listen to the passage from John. The Jews started arguing with one another. "How can this man give us his flesh to eat?" they said. Jesus replied, "I tell you most solemnly, if you do not eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you will not have life in you. Anyone who does eat my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life, and I shall raise him up on the last day. For my flesh is real food, and my blood is real drink. He who eats my flesh and drinks my blood lives in me, and I live in him. As I, who am sent by the living Father, myself draw life from the Father, so whoever eats me will draw life from me. This is the bread come down from heaven. Not like the bread our ancestors ate, they are dead. But anyone who eats this bread will live forever." He taught his doctrine at Capernaum in the synagogue. The Gospel of the Lord. So, first I would like to point out that this passage, all this discourse, what we read, is built up on dialogue that the Jews, many times after whatever Jesus said, they have different reactions. They respond, and then Jesus will continue to explain things or to add things, to clarify if needed. Maybe not always he will do that, we'll see that later on. But we see that when Jesus said that he is the bread which comes from heaven, they will be listening. How can he say that? We know his parents, we know his mother, his father. They mentioned Joseph. So how he can say this? And Jesus will say that it was not Moses who gave them the bread from heaven. It is him. Say, "I am the bread of life." He will continue explaining, repeating. When he will speak about eating the flesh of the Son of Man, they will question, how can he say this about eating the flesh? Then when he will continue about this, underlying this exactly, that the people who ate the manna in the desert, they died. Simply they died. Many people will say that's hard talk what he's saying. This saying is very difficult to listen to. But what I'm trying to say is that it's very important that we are in constant dialogue with the Lord. Sometimes we'll have better attitude, like once the beginning of the chapter, where people were listening about the work of God and work for God, and they were confronted with their reality of poverty. They say what we should do. So it's positive reaction. Sometimes will be this negative. People say how that can be. That's unthinkable. That is too tough to listen to. But it's important. Here I said it is not a moral judgment. Someone reacted. We react as we react. Before we start judging ourselves or the others, it's important that we will look what this is telling me about myself or about the others. So it's very important that I have right sometimes not to understand what Jesus is saying. Actually, that's some kind of natural thing. The teaching comes from above. Okay, I give myself this time or patience with myself, but to be in the dialogue, to maybe to even ask question to the Lord, saying, "What do you mean? How come this saying?" Or and it is about the scriptures, but many times about maybe the moral teaching of the church or dogmatic teaching of the church, or personal experience of our lives, because there's something happening. I might ask, Lord, what do you want to tell me? Maybe I was applying to many positions, many CVs sent, and there is no response. What do you want to tell me? And then there's another event, another dialogue, another questions. I mean, the Lord, it's the one who wants to be in constant dialogue. So here, uh, as the reaction of the Jews was quite, uh, I mean, doesn't matter. They were having many doubts, and some will leave. But here, that's important that we are in the dialogue, that we speak to the Lord, He speaks to us. Uh, another, so that would be one thing about all this chapter. It's an invitation that how we can read to see that the relation with the Lord is is a is not a static thing. It's not just a teaching that he gives us a book to read and then he's gone. That's not true. He's constantly in dialogue with his people. We see also that faith to which he calls us is a process, is a journey. There is up and down. This journey, as say Abraham and his journey, he will make mistakes. So the Lord will appear to him. He will bring him back to allow ourselves for this, and above all to be open for this dialogue. The Lord is speaking to each one of us. Hopefully we can listen to him today. Have a great day. God bless you.